financial services. I've joined the payment space, and payments is a really interesting space, right? It's, I think of it payments anytime you move money. So let's say like via Venmo, you're sending Venmo, you're sending a check to someone, you're sending a wire, you're putting down payment to your house, that sort of thing. To me, payments is kind of like the pipelines for commerce.
Right.
That is what drives commerce. I mean, these oil companies or pharmaceutical companies, like they're trying to receive payments for the services and products that they provide. Like, how do you get that from A to B most effectively? And it's a space that's really ripe for disruption. And for me, one thing that's been important to me to think about is everywhere I've gone, um, I've always thought about, okay, how can this tie back to Nigeria? How can this tie back to Africa?
Right.
And for me, when I was thinking about payments, like, yeah, there are definitely clear opportunities um, to do good and also to do well, right? Like, I know in terms of like transferring money from here to like relatives in Nigeria sometimes can be a pain. Um, then I also started thinking about just how about finances and financial independence. And I ran into the lady who runs the US reading program for West Africa. I met her randomly at the Nigerian embassy,
Wow.
and she was sharing with me like literacy rates in northern Nigeria. Like, it's crazy, like
Literacy
20%
rates.
literacy rate, yeah. And she was sharing like about 10% of women can read and write. Only 10 in northern Nigeria. In the south,
Wow.
it's like 60, 70%. It's crazy. And then for men, it's like only 30% of men in northern Nigeria can read or write. And I started thinking like, if these brothers and sisters are not able to read and write, how can they use the internet?
Hmm.
And like, I mean, yes, like how like the world is changing so fast. I know I'm always on my cell phone and reading so many things. Like, how are their lives? I'm so sorry. How are their lives? Like, and so, and even business, how are they going to be empowered to do business in the future? It's really quite worrisome. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
it,
Right.
large chunks of our population don't have the equipment to engage in the future of commerce. And then I started thinking more about women empowerment, because oftentimes, right, women like will if a woman is good, her kids are good. And if the kids are good, that's the future, right? And and I just started thinking about there are just opportunities to improve the costs of business on these people. Um, for example, let's say there's a man, an Alaji in the north. He has three wives, and each of them is like a small scale subsistence farmer. And you know, Alaji now wants to marry his fourth wife because he can. And this woman, she wants her kids to go to school, but she has to pay. And Alaji is like, maybe only the boy should go to school, doesn't have enough money. But if she's doing business, she might be able to save and invest and keep some of that money for herself, maybe to send her daughters to school as well. And but thinking like right now, like, does she have means to access those sorts of solutions for her? Or is she just keeping the money under her mattress? And under her mattress, Alaji can come when she's outside and can just carry the money and go, you know? So I was just thinking about this, and I think there are opportunities to obviously like help drive literacy in the north, everywhere, frankly, but
Right.
also let's think about how can we carry along everyone as we're marching forward in technology. one thing that worries me is like the next Einstein, the next Elon Musk, whatever, could be like in northern Nigeria and is just like doesn't have the equipment to be all they can be.
Right.
And
The tools, the resources.
the tools, the resources. And I think, you know, I know in my own family situation, like my grandfather, his my great grandfather was like a farmer, and it was like, my son, you'll be a farmer too. My grandpa was like, nah, and he was like, he told his mom that he wanted to continue his education, he wanted to move to the big city, and my grandpa was like, no, this all this school you are doing, not necessary. You're going to be a farmer like me. So, and
You
he
mean your great
eventually,
grandfather?
my great grandfather, what he told my grandpa.
Yeah.
And so my grandpa worked with his mom, and she used her contacts and she saved some money on the side. And he basically ran away.
Wow.
He ran away to Lagos, and he stayed with his mother's cousin, his mother's uncle, I think, a relative. And there he learned to sew, and he became a successful business owner.
Wow.
Um, but he had a drive within him. Luckily, he had some tools. He'd gotten some basic education already, and the rest, was supportive. But maybe there are other people like my grandpa who who you know are are not able to pursue their dreams. And that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
The world is better off if there is more opportunity for all.